What's up, YouTube? This is Professor Xslave, your general in political strategy in these perilous times. So help us God. Coming to you with a subject matter that's pretty close to my heart, um, particularly because I have love for all groups who are discussed in this broadcast, even those that are not the most deserving of love in some people's eyes. My heart goes out to them. So let me break it down to you like this. Radical Islamist is going to be on the rise in America. This message is particularly for Americans. The rest of the Western nations, you guys already are hip to what's going on. But to those in America, I feel that we as a people do not understand fully what is about to take place. I'm just speaking from my community alone. And I say this in fairness to those people who are practitioners of different faiths. I'm just speaking solely from the perspective of someone who studies political and military science. That is it. No other perspective am I really coming from, besides also growing up in a Christian home, being raised around Muslims and Hebrews, and knowing the issues that my community face, the needs that we have, and what has been disenfranchisement, mainly neglect by the United States government. I say all this to say that radical Islam is on the rise around the world. It is on the rise in West Africa, in the Sahara. It is on the rise in the Mecca of it, if you listen to the news media, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, and other parts of Asia, in the Pacific. We are going to be faced, and when I say we, I'm talking specifically to the black community. We are going to be faced with a tough burden to bear. We already are being disenfranchised as a people, in medically, historically, academically, employment, all the things that are barriers that's put before us as a people, and yet we still rise. Those of us that commit to putting our best foot forward and blinding out everything else. But what is coming upon us is going to be very challenging, because I see the seeds that have already been planted and how they're going to grow. I'm speaking solely to you as a messenger, not a prophet, but as a messenger, that radical Islam is going to be the new frontier in war for a very long time. And it's when it's not just the Afghanis who are going to be seeking refuge and be placed into our communities and things of that such. It will be full scale, um, it would be a full scale warfare change to what we are used to seeing with within the West. For instance, Crips and Bloods, I believe they will still exist, but they will not be the main. Uh, I don't want to say killers, murderers, but the main issue uh, that will be facing the community. I believe a good deal of it will be radical Islam, and this is why we do not have fathers in our community as we should. We are a community that needs brotherhood. We need fathers in homes. To a degree, the gangs provide a brotherhood. By gangs providing a brotherhood to uh, young brothers and sisters in the streets, they provide them a haven, they give them an identity. Islam gives those who are seeking the beyond, seeking more than which they understand, it gives them that. And it's 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 militant. It has militant components to it. Not saying that people who are all Muslims are violent people. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is there are components to it that can be interpreted to radicalize black youth, not just those who are in the streets, but those who are on the stoops, on pulpits. And I'm talking specifically to my Hebrew brothers in who are Israelites, namely those who are in these camps, the ISUPKs, the GMCs, the Sakaris of the world. I am talking to you guys. You will be challenged greatly. I do not say this to disparage, but the Israelites do not run as deep as Islam in this country. Not just in this country, but the history. I study history. I know. I just we could talk about it. I love to debate. Um, not I can do a little biblical, but I'm more so historical, uh, archaeological. But I'm more about the artifacts, the history, the trueness of it that can be backed by multiple sources of things, and rather than quoting scripture, because I can do that as well, but um, not so much quoting of scripture, but look up scriptures to go against whatever, because every argument has been had a counter argument online when it comes to scripture. But when it comes down to actual scientific research and bodies of people coming to an agreement and why they came to these agreements and what were the disagreements in, and allowing people that didn't make their decisions, I find that to be a more wholesome argument. Um, but that's just me. But people can take it how they want. But basically, what I'm saying is that first and foremost, the first people to galvanize and bring black people together as an identity, as a people. Who are those people? Who were they? They still are here to this day. The Nation of Islam. The NOI has brought so many people to their set of Islam that we have respect as a community. If I can look at one body of people within our community have at least, I don't know how they live in their homes and their personal life, but at least to the eye, to the outward appearance, these people are upright, righteous men and women, and they believe in living righteous. And people can agree to disagree on how they live their lives, but these people are honorable. There's a degree of honorability to them, um, or a degree of honor to them. But when it comes down to, um, I'm not saying that the Hebrews don't have that. I'm just saying that the history is there for the name, the building up of the black man, the black woman, and the black child, in the mind, and in our understanding as a people, and working together. That was the nation. Um, Other sets and groups of uh, of nationalization groups or black power groups, they they don't have the track record of the NOI, or they're no longer to they're defunct. They're no longer to operating to the degree that they were before. Definitely nowhere near the degree of the NOI. Um, I've noticed and I know that a lot of black Muslims who are part of the NOI, they end up becoming Sunni Muslims later on in their journey of studying Islam. And through them having this journey in NOI, being who they are, and of course the history and the story of Malcolm, all of these things leads to, if radical Islam or more Muslim people from the Western or the Far East or Western Asia world come over here, there will be an indoctrination process that will pull our people from these identities of being a Hebrew Israelite, uh, a member of the NOI, or being in a gang on the streets. The CIA has deemed it so. I do believe that the CIA, to some degree, has a hand. The CIA, FBI has a hand in all of these groups, in any and everything that's popular based. That's a organization that has some power degree or level to it. That's some type of degree of influence. And you cannot tell me that Farrakhan is not the most powerful and influential man in Black America. And by him being that, I'm not saying that he is controlled. I am saying though is that he is being watched as well as his followers as well. So by there being that much that high level degree of eyes on the NOI, there has to be people who have been it has to have been infiltrated. And not just them. I'm talking about smaller sets. And a lot of people don't know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about groups like Straight Black Pride as well. These brothers are and other Pan African groups. Um, but I say Straight Black Pride in particular because they represent all these groups, whether you're Israelite, you're part of the nation, you're a part of Straight Black Pride, you're a part of New Era, you're a part of ADOS, FBA, grassroots, real grassroots. Me personally, I do not count Black Lives Matter as grassroots, but you know, here, there, you can take it or leave it. But um, we all these groups, but even Black Lives Matter message, the people who actually mean Black Lives Matter, and they're not hating on black men and black children, and they're all about feminism. The people who actually their hearts are in the right place, and they mean well and they do well. All these groups do have a piece of our collective identity, but with this, it has a chance to potentially unite us, because there was a reason why our ancestors were given the Bible instead of the Quran. You cannot tell me that there wasn't. I'm not saying that we are not a part or descendants of the Hebrews. I am not saying that. I am not saying that we're not also part of descendants of the Muslims or the Vodun, Regulus de Congo, or whoever. I'm not saying none of that. But what I am saying is that Islam has its roots. It's been had its roots here. The first writings that they found of black people or enslaved Africans coming over to this land, it was Arabic. A lot of people say Hebrew. A lot of Hebrews say it's Hebrew. It wasn't Hebrew. It was Arabic. And our people were given the pork, the pig, the chitlins and all that. That came from us not wanting to eat pork. Why didn't our ancestors want to eat pork? Were they not? There's a possibility that they were Muslims. Could it be us returning back to our original faith? I'm not saying these things are true or it isn't, but what I'm saying is it has enough to change the mind of what's going on in Black America, as well as give aid to the radicalization process of the West to bring the West under Sharia. I'm not saying these things are for it. I'm not really for it at all, really. But the problems and issues that we face in the Black community, such as the Little Nas X's politicizing the gay agenda and weaponizing gay individuals, because I don't have any hate. I have strong discontent, but I don't have any hate for Little Nas X or Lizzo or Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B. I believe these people are misguided and misdirected. They are lost souls, but I don't. At least I try my best. I wrestle with it. I try not to hate, but we are under siege as a community, and radical Islam, as they call it, has a chance to upheaval and lift us out of this. It's a lot of force, because we've seen the Taliban win. We've seen radical Islam win. We've seen that's how you get your neck out of the foot of the white man. You take his ass on head on, straight. You don't back down. And no matter if you live, you die, it is what it is. You know, it's God's will. You stand on your principles. I tell you one thing: if we were under Sharia, we wouldn't have no Lil Nas X's. I know that for sure. We wouldn't have to worry about no Lil Nas X popping up on no baby videos. How much you want to bet if the Taliban or radical Islam had a foot, just a foot, and it was just at every town, people were worried about people being radicalized or something like that to that degree. That climate is being shaped for that, slowly but surely. I'm amazed at seeing what's going on around the world and how fast the process is happening. It's alarming, to say the least. But once it actually has a foothold here, we're going to see a conversion rate like never before. Once it actually kicks in and the conversion start, it's going to be so fast. I don't believe we're going to be ready. And the Black community needs to decide what side is it going to be on. Sure, there's a history of the Hebrews and the Muslims working together and warfare and things of that nature, but who's to say these people are going to still want to be Hebrew Israelites? Because let's be real, I've been in a mosque before. That's real brotherhood. It all goes back to that family, brotherhood. What the black man has been and child has been robbed of, Islam provides. And that is something that is very dangerous and scary to the status quo. We want change in this country, but how bad do we want it? That's my question to you. Until next time, stay safe, stay educated, stay motivated. This is Professor Xslave, and I'm out.